And as a man, I have been down that road. I'm sure you have too. I can do it by myself. I don't need no help. I got this handle, when in reality, you really don't. Everybody needs help from time to time. And you have to get over that ego in order to ask that question. And you got to that point. I got to that point, and somebody opened up and said, okay, I can help you with this. And it made your life just shift course just that quickly. It's that easy sometimes. All you have to do is ask, and somebody will give you the information. Seek and ye shall find.
There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG, gifting and gift. You know that our motto on this show is we're all gifted differently to make a difference. And I'm telling you, family, we have an amazing difference maker on the show today. King Eastman is in the building. Are you ready to get it?
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. And I know the audience, they've been anticipating, waiting on this episode to drop, ready to learn more about you and your endeavors, what got you to where you are in 2022. So can you just go back, Kevin, and share your story with us?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it took a lot of banging my head against the wall, if you will, figuratively speaking. Once I got to the adulthood, I had a plan for my life, and things weren't working the way that I had planned, and had to take a step back to figure out what was going on, and more importantly, why it was going on. And it took a while to figure that out, to banging my head against the wall. Where, like I said before, a lot of things I found that made me uncomfortable, things like that. And I had to do a lot of maturing. And I did that thanks to some wonderful mentors that I had inside the Air Force and outside the Air Force. Lessons from mentors throughout growing up. All of those things came rushing back to me when I was trying to figure out why life is not going the way I planned it. And it
Thank
was
you for your service, by the way, as well.
Thank you. What I wrote in my book, actually, things that I did mention in the book is discomfort is a byproduct of personal growth. You have to go through that in order to get to another example, another plateau in order to get there. So that's kind of where I am, and where it landed me was a lot less stress.
Thank you so much for diving deeper into your story there, Kevin. And I know you kind of touched a little bit on your book. And again, family, I know I mentioned earlier in the introduction, him being a speaker, author, consultant, ex-Air Force guy, 20 years plus in the game, doing some phenomenal things in the community at this point in his life. I love the title of your book, Kevin. I want you to dive into that a little bit more. So the title, family, is Don't Gamble on Life Improvement Until You Shift the Odds. Now, when you hear that, Kevin, when you hear that read from me, what does that mean to you?
Well, what it means to me, when I came up with the title of the book, I wanted it to be a metaphor. So that's kind of what I was aiming for when I titled the book. And a lot of people make the misconception, if you will, of hearing the word gamble in the title, and they automatically think it's about gambling. And I did it intentionally to raise people's curiosity of the book. So, but if they get into the book, they'll realize it has nothing to do with gambling at all. But what it is, it's a metaphor for a lesson I had to learn growing up, and that is, don't try to change your life until you shift your thinking. And that's total. Wow, that is completely what the book is about. It's about changing the way that you think about things, how you react to things in order to achieve your goals. Because what we do a lot of times, what I was doing, and I know I'm not the only one on the planet that has done this ever in life, and what I was doing was I was trying to, instead of adjusting my behavior to my circumstances, I expected the circumstances to adjust to my behavior. I didn't want to change anything I did. and things, and I didn't realize that circumstances can't be changed. And it was a hard lesson to learn, but after a while you get so tired of banging, up against the wall, expecting the wall to move, that you do something different, and that's what it came down to me. And that's what I try to teach in the book, that when a person reads the book. The best thing I can tell a person is in order to get the full advantage of reading my book, is to forget what you know and just read it. Because a lot of things that you are going to read in the book, I already know what it's like, especially in our community, in the Black community. People are hesitant about self-development books in the first place.
Right.
It's always that quote unquote, ain't nothing wrong with me. Well, there was nothing wrong with me either until I found out there was.
I played that story before in my life too. Sure.
And one of the things I learned is lessons are not taught when things go right. You learn when things go wrong. And that's one of the things.
Look, can I stop you 1 second, Kevin? Somebody need to hear you say that one more time. Like, say what you just said, because that was gold. Like, please say that one time.
I was taught lessons are not learned when things go right. You learn lessons when things go wrong.
Wow. And what's funny, man, I feel like we learn that all through life. It's like, it's not one of those things that just stick with you right then and there. Like, you constantly got to take that with a grain all the way through life, knowing that your struggles, your trials, your tribulation, your difficulties, there's lessons that can be extracted out of that, right? And
man, you didn't say nothing that is untrue. What you just said, one of the biggest things that I did was I had to learn that you can learn something from everybody you meet. You either learn what to do or you learn what not to do. And you can take that, you can learn something from meeting the CEO of a company, or you can learn something from the janitor. It doesn't matter. One of the things I do in the community with my fraternity is we talk about mentoring. We actually have a mentoring program for young men. And one of the things I remember telling a particular group was, every person you meet has been on a unique journey to get to where they are. But anyone you meet can be holding the information you need to get you where you want to be. Your job is to find them. And the only way you're going to find them is to talk to people.
And I know you touched on some stuff about in the Black communities in general, about how, we don't normally talk about a lot of things, but one of the greatest ways to grow is to ask questions, to ask for help, and I don't even think that's even a Black community thing. I think that's just a man thing. Us as men, we want to be looked at as a strong one, we know it all in some way, shape, or fashion. I'm picking on myself here. It's like,
trust me, I've been through the same thing. I
started asking people questions and started asking for help, man, I don't quite understand how to do A, B, and C. How did you get through it? If Chaz can do it, you can do it. One of those scenarios, I feel like my life transformed after that.
But you know what? Here's the funny thing, and it may not just be in the Black community. It may be a man thing. It may be a people thing. But one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard in my life is from a minister in Texas, as a matter of fact, Dr. Rick Rigsby. During a speech, he said something that hit me like a shot, and I remembered it ever since he said it. He said, "Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity." And I think a lot of times what we do is we hide behind an ego, and that's our shield. If we can put ego up front, we can shield ourselves from the pain of being quote unquote stupid. And it's not that you're being stupid, in that sense. It's just that you just may not know. And as a man, I have been down that road. I'm sure you have too. I can do it by myself. I don't need no help. I got this handle, when in reality, you really don't. Everybody needs help from time to time. And you have to get over that ego in order to ask that question. And you got to that point. I got to that point, and somebody opened up and said, okay, I can help you with this. And it made your life just shift course just that quickly. It's that easy sometimes. All you have to do is ask, and somebody will give you the information. Seek and you shall find.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Thank you for dropping some gems, asking questions, and just getting over that ego. That's such powerful information. And Kevin, this show is built on providing tips and techniques for young men as they strive to grow in personal development and leadership. I know you're giving some amazing tips and techniques, and whoever's listening to us right now, whatever platform it is, drop in the comments application point that you're going to take up to this point, because there's some that's been laid out there already. And I know Kevin's about to give another one right here, right now with this question. I'll go ahead and prophesy it. I'm going to prophesy. But there's a young man that's listening to you right now, and he's just kind of like, no, I'm having a hard time discovering my passion, discovering what my passion looks like. Is there any tips or techniques that you can give him that works for you as you strive to become a greater version of yourself, Kevin, to get to where you are today?
Absolutely. And the hard part for me was actually you have to define rock bottom. And I always tell people are not going to they're not going to take action until they hit their rock bottom, not the rock bottom you set for them. And
Wow.
it took me having to learn my rock bottom. I got to the point where I said, I've had enough. So you have to have that bottom floor, that you, if you will. And what a lot of people say, well, I've hit rock bottom. Well, if you look at it a different way, that's actually your foundation, and you can start building up. So what I did was I said, okay, enough is enough. What don't I like? I don't like A, B, and C. Okay, why are A, B, and C happening? And once you identify it, then you can take the steps to start correcting it. So, one of the big things for me was I was comfortable within my comfort zone. And a lot of people are, but here's one of the things that I learned growing up as I got older in my Air Force career. The comfort zone is a beautiful place. The only problem is nothing ever grows there. So you have to think about it in
Wow,
that
that's deep. I
sense.
like that.
We have a comfort zone, and I call it a circumference. You are comfortable inside of that comfort zone because you know how everything works inside of there. So as long as you stay right there, you have practices in place, that you have reactions in place, that you know how to deal with the things that happen in there. But growth only happens outside of the comfort zone. And getting outside of your comfort zone is a terrifying experience until you start looking at it with a different perception. If you look at it in the sense that the journey outside of your comfort zone is only one step, it makes it a lot easier to do. But if you look, oh, I got to get out of my comfort zone, it sounds like a daunting task. It really isn't. You take one step outside and you're outside of it.
Exactly, exactly. That's so true. That's so true. And I know early in my journey, and I still find myself somewhat doing this, is whenever I get out of my comfort zone, it's kind of like certain situations, circumstances can happen that you want to self-sabotage and go back into your comfort zone. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Because your
so can you
comfort zone,
touch on that a little bit, Kev? Like for that young man
absolutely.
that when he does take that leap and let's say some good things happen, let's say some people, when you step outside your comfort zone, your friends may change, right? Because maybe you're not doing some of the things that you used to do just because you're growing yourself, or, you find yourself going after certain ideals that doesn't match up with your old bad habits, if that makes sense. There are some fears that's being created. There's some distractions that were once there that you're trying to get rid of, and that's not supporting where you want to go, but you find yourself starting to peek back at those old distractions. So what comes to mind on that one, Kevin, whenever you hear the
Oh, I,
self-sabotage?
I really, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea and think that I am just discounting the comfort zone. It's a good place to go to. It's a safety net to a certain extent. But the thing is, a lot of people stay right there. They
Mm,
don't leave from that comfort zone, and you have to get out if you want to grow. You comfort has never made anybody do anything different. As a matter of fact, if you look at it in a real logical sense, comfort, it promotes inaction. It
mm.
doesn't promote action. What's more beneficial to you? Getting what you want to get to, or staying where you are?
Wow.
If you don't like where you are, because what I always tell people, think about where you are right now. If you don't like where you are, think about what got you to that point. What got you to that point is what you've always done. And if you don't like where you are, your only alternative is to do something differently than you've
Exactly.
already done, because you already know the result of what you've done because it's gotten you here. And you said you don't like it. So you have to do something different.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for diving even deeper into that, getting out of your comfort zone, becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And
Oh
that's where some
man,
magic really happens.
I kid you.
So, Kevin, I know there's someone's listening right now. They took some application points. That was one, becoming comfortable, being uncomfortable. But we also talked a little about getting around people that can help you grow. You know, we covered a little bit of that as well. In front of some more of your information, social media's standpoint, can you just share some of your contact information and what you got going on moving forward in 2022? Can we
Oh,
support you, be
absolutely.
praying for you, the whole 9 yards?
Absolutely. I am easy to find on social media. I'm on Facebook, author Kevin E. Eastman. I always put my middle initial in there because the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is actually named Kevin Eastman. That's not me. So I had to put my middle initial in there. Twitter, if you find me there. You can find me on Instagram. I have my website, kevineeastman.com. You can shoot me a message there. You know, I always like hearing from readers and supporters, those who have written my book, that have read my book, that have told me, oh, something you wrote in the book made me change my life for the better. That is gold to me. You know, that means, okay, the book is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. You know, but I had a wonderful mentor who asked me two questions during a mentoring session, and he did two things. Number one, he pissed me off, but number two, and more importantly, he got my attention. What he asked me was, he's asked me two questions. He said, number one, why do you insist on shortchanging yourself?
Wow.
And I'm sitting there like, well, I didn't think I was. So now you done made me mad because you think I'm doing something I'm not doing. And then he asked me two questions. He asked me the second question. He said, I've heard you mention any and everybody and any and everything for your misfortune. Have you ever looked in the mirror? And I was stumped. I had no answer for that question. And he said, okay, what I want you to do is we're going to revisit this in 48 hours. I want you to go home and I want you to think about everything that has made you mad in your life and think about your role in that situation, because you can only control your behavior and actions. You cannot control anybody else's. Think about what you've done and if you could have done anything different that may have changed the outcome of that situation. And that forced me to look at the way I thought about things. And it changed the way I thought completely. I was just, that's when I hit that wall and like, man, I don't like the way this is going. And now I know why I don't like the way it's going. You know, I'm trying to control everything around me instead of going with the flow and adjusting to what's given to me. And once I did that, everything started turning around.
Y'all better go check this book out. It's on Amazon, correct? On your website.
It is on Amazon. It's on Amazon. It is on for our friends up in Canada. It's on Kobo. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on Apple Books. You can get it directly from the website if you would like. You know, I got a few copies here in the house that I can mail to people if they want it. You know, that there are ways to get the book, and what I want is for people to read it. And I always tell people, if you read it, it's either going to help you or it's going to help you help somebody you know, because everybody that reads this book is going to know at least one person that needs something that I wrote in this book. Because it's everyday situations that we all can relate to. We can relate to relationships. We can relate to haters. We can relate to perception. You know, if the glass is half empty or half full, you know, those types of things. Validation that we look for. I talk about validation and how it is viewed as a quote unquote silent killer because of what people have shown that they are willing to do in order to achieve it. Those type of things. So I have it set up. The way that the book is set up is actually a building block from one chapter to the next. And at the end of it, I put everything together and show how it all ties into keeping things moving forward.
Nice. Man, thank you so much. This has been such a treat, such a phenomenal conversation. Just hearing you, I can tell you're very passionate about this book, what you're doing in your community, for the world as we see it. So again, thank you for your time and effort for blessing GNG podcast audience by allowing them to stand on your shoulders, because you're a giant. You allow people to see farther than if they wasn't in your presence. So forward to seeing what all you got left stored for in 2022 and moving on to years to come. So GNG, we support everything you're doing and how you're doing it. So continue shining your light, brother.
Definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to give me a platform to talk to people a little bit. Hopefully I inspired somebody to go out and get the book. It's not about selling books. It's about changing lives,
most definitely.
And that's one of the things that I want to stress to when I talk with people. It's like, look, the book, making money is nice, but if somebody tells you you helped me, that's more important to me. Money's good always. I ain't gonna tell you that it's not, but but the changing of lives and impacting lives in a positive way, that's the reason why I wrote it.
Beautiful. I'm going to lead us out, King Eastman. Hey, I told each and every one of you this is going to be a phenomenal episode. Please drop in the comments. Let me know what application point you are going to take and apply and take that daily challenge, as we always talk about on this show, of making your life the best of your life. And I want to just throw one out there to you, whoever's listening. We talked about being uncomfortable, stepping outside of your comfort zone. So let us know what is something that you're doing right now that you want to change, that you want to step out of your comfort zone. You want to break down that fear. You want to get rid of that bad habit. You want to break the barriers against that distraction and stretching yourself, growing. And I promise you, we're here. We want to support you. Me and Kevin want to be there and help you take that daily challenge on, making that self-discipline a reality, making that dream or goal a reality, because self-discipline is the link between your dreams and reality. So we want to make that something worthwhile for you and help you walk through that. Also, if you listen to this and there was something that, man, someone else needs to hear this, please be willing to share this out, whatever social media platform you listen to this on, podcast platform. Share this out. Get as many people in front of this message as we can. And as always, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I want you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want you guys to do two things for me. Keep that crown on your heart. And remember this: we are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast. Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.